Hello, friends. I'm glad to see you again. Today, I've got a story that'll make you shake your head, laugh a little, and maybe double-check your own front door before bedtime because you really never know what kind of neighbor is going to show up next. Right? Let me tell you how, before I'd even slept one night in my new house, the so-called homeowners association tried to evict me and ended up getting a lesson in what happens when you push the wrong person a little too far. Picture this: I am standing in my empty living room, clutching a roll of packing tape, the place echoing like a concert hall because the furniture hadn't even arrived. The keys were still warm from the title office, my name fresh on the deed, insurance binder sticking out of my pocket, lights scheduled to flip over the next morning. I hadn't cooked an egg, hadn't spent a night shoot, I hadn't even figured out which light switch turned on which light. And just a few hours after the last pen hit the last page, here comes a parade up my walkway, led by Geraldine, president of the HOA, flanked by a crew of clipboard-wielding sidekicks. Troy, the compliance chair, standing like he's guarding a secret. Minka and Seth, clipboard twins, hovering like they were there to check the gas meter. "Congratulations on your new home," Geraldine says, not even faking a smile. "We need you to sign your membership guarantee. The moving trucks don't step a tire on this street until we have it in hand." I blink. "My what?" "Your 100% written guarantee you'll join the association, pay the dues, follow all rules present and future." Troy chimes in, waving a piece of paper with a watermark eagle that looked like someone found clip art at 2 a.m. "We've had newcomers drag their feet. Can't have that." I put on my best IT help desk face, the one you use when your aunt swears she didn't do anything before her laptop exploded. I read over their binding pre-occupancy commitment and realized they wanted me to promise to join, pay up, and obey rules I hadn't even seen yet. I told them, "I'm happy to read your governing docs, but my purchase contract doesn't say anything about a mandatory association." Geraldine sighs so hard, I swear I heard punctuation in it. "The documents are in process. Our attorney is finalizing a re-recording. We manage all the properties as a common interest community." "Is it recorded with the county?" I ask, because that's how these things work. Recorded covenants run with the land, not wishes and good intentions. The wind rustled my sold sign. Even the weather was a little amused. Minka finally speaks. "We can't allow non-compliant owners. We've had problems. Problems like what door color fines? I haven't even chosen a door color." Geraldine steps in. "Just sign, give us a post-dated check for your dues, an initial compliance assessment, and a bond deposit. Or refuse, and we'll issue a notice of intent to evict. We have fast-track procedures." The guarantee demanded a cashier's check, a compliance bond, consent to future fines, and this weird line about the association being formed by unanimous consent of residents on file. It was also official-looking, but smelled like something you'd find under a rock. So I did what any rational adult would do: pulled out my phone and started recording. "Geraldine, let's be clear. I bought a single-family home. My title search shows no covenants. If you have an association, show me, but I don't have to join anything that isn't on my deed or in the county records." Troy smirks. "We have our ways. We've evicted people for less. I had a mattress and a cooler, and all the relief of leaving apartment life behind. But that relief disappeared like dew under a blow-dryer. They didn't leave." Geraldine says, "We'll wait," like my front porch was a bank lobby. So I go inside, call my title officer, put her on speaker. "If someone claims they're an association but the title doesn't show covenants, what's the story?" She laughs. "If nothing's recorded, they can't force you to join. You'd have seen a resale certificate or an estoppel letter at closing if there was a real association." I check my email, nothing about CC&Rs, nothing legal. Then I call a real estate attorney I know, Kia. I start explaining, get steamed just picturing those clipboards on my porch. She stops me. "They're trying to rope you into a contract by pressure. If there's nothing recorded, they have no leverage. Voluntary clubs are one thing, but they can't evict you, and if they threaten to interfere, that's tortious interference. If they block your moving truck, that's possibly a crime." I tell her, I don't think they're scared of law or logic. She grins over the phone. Then give them what they want, your 100% guarantee. Just condition it on there being a real, recorded association with proper authority. Document everything, call the sheriff if they try to block the street. And if they keep demanding money under threat, that's something for consumer protection. So I craft my conditional guarantee. I'll join if and when you can show me your association actually exists with all the proper filings. I CC the title officer and Kia, blind copy myself for the paper trail. Then I hand it to Geraldine. Troy squints at it like he's reading the fine print on a candy wrapper. This isn't our form, right? I say. Because your form says I consent to fines for rules you haven't shown me. Mine just says I'll join if you're legit. Geraldine bristles. We're issuing notice. If you bring a truck here, we'll have it towed. You got a traffic order? I ask. Because if a tow company hooks a legal truck on a public street without a police request, that's fraud. Sheriff's going to want to see a court order. Geraldine grumbles, clipboard clutched like a shield. The next morning, I find a no move-ins permitted without HOA approval sign on my mailbox. Stuck with the kind of precision that says someone owns a label maker. Movers pull up, and so does a tow truck, idling at the end of the block, neon vests and all. I'm not tough, but I am very good at documenting, communicating, and making things public, so I set up my tripod, start a cloud backup stream, call the sheriff, explain the whole circus. I even bring bottled water down to the tow guys, figured it couldn't hurt. You here for the HOA? One shrugs. We get calls. I hand them paperwork. If you tow my truck without a court order, that's conversion, and the sheriff will be here soon. They decide to wait. Meanwhile, Geraldine and Troy set up a folding table like they're registering voters, passing out pre-printed notices and vests. The sheriff Aravisa man who's seen every argument under the Sunund asks for my ID, looks over my deed, and then heads for Geraldine's table. Do you have a court order? We have HOA authority, she insists. Is the association recorded? He asks, like he already knows the answer. Attorney's re-recording, she mumbles. He shuts it down. No court order, no covenants. This is civil. You can't block a public right-of-way or stop a moving truck. Try and you could face criminal charges. The tow truck disappears. Geraldine's mouth opens and closes like a fish. I send a report to the Consumer Protection Office. Copy everyone. Post a note on my door. Remember to breathe. By goo remover. Don't let them win with volume. Between truck trips, I meet my new neighbor Lark, who says, saw the show. They fined me for my dog's water bowl. Tried to lien my house. Lawyer told them to pound San-No Association on our deeds. Why do people put up with it? Ask. Most folks don't know better. Board likes it when people pay without asking questions. Later, I meet Adley, who looks like she could deadlift my fridge. They told me I couldn't keep a little front yard library, said it privatized the commons. I told them my deadbolt only privatizes my front door. I grin. You're going to stir the pot, aren't you? I'm going to read the recipe first. That night, I search property records, no covenants. Nothing but deeds. I start a timeline, slip every encounter and email into a folder marked HOA. Draft a note for neighbors. If you have letters, experiences, good or bad, please share. Looking into how we can have transparent, neighborly expectations here without threats. Next morning, emails and voicemails flood in violation notices for mailbox planters. Scan of a tow authorization with no company address. A neighbor who says he's got a folder of back and forth with the board. I make a spreadsheet. Date, sender, threat, requested payment, outcome. Patterns start showing up like a bad rash. At noon, the Consumer Protection Division replies, real investigator, real case number. We are interested in whether this entity is pretending to have legal authority to obtain payments. Later, Lark shows up with an envelope full of shaky legal threats. One letter claims the right to enter any property at any time. What happens if you pay the bond? Ask. Then they find a violation and keep it, he says. That's what happened to Mila. Trash can visible for 20 minutes. Bond vanished. I call Kia. I want to do this right. Help the neighbors. Stop them. We build the record. Regulatory, civil, and internal. Kia drafts letters. I gather documents. Lark and Adley canvas houses. 10 people gather in my living room that night, sipping water, sharing stories. Some paid dues for years. Some stopped when the threats got nasty. We talk about boundaries, voluntary versus mandatory, public streets, the little park. Not about overthrowing, just fixing what's broken. The next day, Kia's cease and desist letters go out. The towing company gets a warning. The county recorder gets an affidavit indexed against my parcel. No fake covenants here. We start tracking everything: regulator complaints, civil action prep, and plans for a voluntary fund. Consumer protection investigator Hannah meets with us, listens quietly. 2 days later, the board tries serving a compliance hearing. Noticino court caption: just theater. We file for an injunction. Meanwhile, we learn Geraldine's association had once incorporated, then got dissolved for not filing. And those dues? Deposited straight into Geraldine's personal account. In court, Kia's opening is sharp. Tradition is not title. Judge enjoins the board from pretending to have authority, from towing or fining, from collecting dues unless people want to pay. Notices go to every resident. Membership is voluntary. State orders refunds for bonds, civil penalties, governance training. Troy gets cited for his oversized shed. Minka apologizes for printing fake forms. Seth starts helping with holiday lights, just happy to be useful. Geraldine lists her house. No mandatory HOA on the flyer. We even help her move out. The little park becomes city property, with us as stewards. A sign goes up, City Park, adopted by neighbors. We set up a tool library, host a Fix a Sticky Door class, buy lemonade from kids raising money for the Commons Fund. Someone leaves tomatoes on my porch for your mule. One evening, a new neighbor's moving truck rolls in. Am I allowed to park here? He asks. Yes, we all answer. Need approval from anyone? Nope. I hand him water and a welcome page. Commons Fund, adopt a spot, and this line: if anyone asks you to join, ask to see the papers. Promises live in the open. That night, my basil turned toward the light, and I slept knowing my house wasn't protected by volume or threats, but by records, neighbors, and the simple courage to ask, show me the paper. Next morning, angry notes, just a yard sale flyer in the mailbox and the kind of peaceful quiet that's actually earned. Big mistake, HOA. Big, beautiful, teachable mistake. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever stood up to a neighborhood bully or an HOA gone wild? Who do you think was right, and what would you do differently? Drop a comment, share your story, and let's talk about what real community means, where the only thing mandatory is mutual respect. See you soon.